And Terry Neal of Arsenal, George Best, of course, Pat Jennings, Sammy Todd, some of the England players on the right, Jeff Hurst, Martin Peters, and inevitably England Football Supporters Association, the mascot. Becoming quite a chilly evening here after a beautiful day, although I gather they had a lot of rain here this morning, which will soften the pitch up a little bit, lay the dust. And there is the man that so many Irish hopes are pinned to tonight, George Best. So many people remember that magnificent game, of course, that Best had against Scotland here at Windsor Park last season. No doubt hoping for a repeat of that. The two teams to line up, and then we shall get the national anthem. An England side that still, I feel, remains the most difficult in the world to beat. With a very proud defensive record. Well, we should be seeing a lot of this fella tonight. Ireland, of course, will be wearing their traditional green. This Irish side that McMordy at number 7. Interesting little story there is that he came over on the boat from Ireland to England on the very same boat as George Best and went to Manchester United and didn't quite hit it off there. And now is, of course, with Middlesbrough. Terry Neal, the number 5, the skipper, who quite recently has suffered an attack of jaundice. It's a side that can very often find moments of inspiration that can test even the best sides in the world. And one of the best sides in the world, of course, is the England side that at the moment is kicking in at the other end. And this side that contains no fewer than 6 of the men who won the World Cup for England in 1966. A lot of people saying that number 9, Bobby Charlton, is having an off-form period, but of course he's still a player of such calibre that he must be respected, whether it's suspected that he's off form or not. Brian LeBone of Everton, the number 5. Two nations have played 75 games, and of those 75, the Irish, sad to say, have won only 5. And England, in fact, have won the last 4 matches that the teams have played in Belfast. So everything points England's way, although they know well enough, as I said before, that it'll be quite a battle for them tonight. Ireland in green shirts with white shorts will be defending that goal to our left to kick off. Big Derek Dougan, one of the real characters in the game of Wolves. And number 8, Tommy Jackson, playing against 2 of his Everton club mates today, Alan Ball and Brian LeBone, and Dougan gets it away. Dougan straight up there to flick it on. McNabb away for England. David Craig of Newcastle to McMordy. McMordy to Dougan. And McNabb in very positively indeed for England. So to throw Martin Peters for England. Hurst. Losing that ball, though. And now McMordy for Ireland, number 7. Irvine going outside him, and good covering again by McNabb, but a corner to Ireland. First one of the game. And Terry Neal going up into that goal mouth to stand on the England goal line at the near post, waiting for Best to take this corner for Northern Ireland. Moore away to Bobby Charlton. Straight onto the back of Dugan. And now Moore. LeBone to the reliable Banks. David Craig again of Newcastle United. Trying to search out Irvine, and again Moore in very positively, and a good piece of calm, controlled defensive play by Bobby Moore. Good intelligent throw by Banks, getting Newton away, and Lee is onside. Ball streaking into the middle, so too is Hurst. Ball trying to lay it off for Lee. And a squeal goes up as Best with Mullery in chase. What a tremendous character, almost a king in Ireland, this boy. Tremendous applause, every move, and it's still Best. Now Dugan. Derek Dugan snatching at his shot just a little bit, but Best giving an indication straight away of the sort of trouble that he could well cause an England defence tonight. Gordon Banks with the goal kick. Neal to Craig to Pat Jennings. David Craig had an upset with injury for Newcastle for a fair time this season. Dugan beating LeBone in the air. Irvine. And now McMordy. Tommy Jackson of Everton. And not a bad cross either. Dugan couldn't quite get to it. LeBone getting in there first. Ball. Francis Lee. Played so well, of course, in England's last international Lee against France. Todd. Aiming it high towards Dugan. Mullery coolly to Peters. Now McNabb. Bobby Charlton. McNabb. Men assembling in that Irish penalty area, looking for something from Charlton, or perhaps now from Mullery. Bobby Moore. Todd covering very well, stopping ball to getting in there. McNabb with a throw for England. Hurst trying to come away from Neal. McNabb shielding that ball well from McMordy and winning a corner for England. Bobby Charlton to take it. Nobody as yet on that goal line. Of course, no Jack Charlton in the England side today. And LeBone is right back. Bobby Charlton, though, looks like it might be something of an in-swinger. Curling in under that crossbar. And Jennings perfectly equal to it. Dugan versus LeBone. LeBone winning that one. Neal to Craig. Long searching ball. Moore getting under it well, though, for England. Nicholson looking out McMordy, but in fact it's McNabb. And a throw to England. Something like 5 minutes gone, no score. Martin Peters, number 11 for England. Charlton first time looking out Hurst, his cheeks puffing away. Sammy Todd to his skipper Terry Neal. Mallory, Bobby Charlton. And a good little ball played there with the outside of his foot to ball. Francis Lee outside him, Hurst in the middle. Peters also making up the number in the middle. Again, snatching at that one, Francis Lee. Scored such a superb goal against France at Wembley. And of course, Leo had a very good cup final as well for Manchester City last week. Nicholson, former Manchester United player, colleague of Bobby Charlton's, of course, to Best. There go the squeals again, and there goes Best. Mallory into him. And taken from behind by Best, and the crowd won't like that. Not sure that Georgie Best appreciated it very much, but it was a foul, and Mr. Mullen was quite right. So it's Keith Newton of Blackburn with the free kick for England. I think Neil's going to have quite a battle with Hurst. They do say that this jaundice that Neil has been suffering from really has quite a weakening effect. And of course, Hurst is so strong and so powerful, as well as being so very, very skillful. Ball buzzing around. And Nicholson taking control there very well. Jimmy Nicholson. Best streaking through in an inside left channel. Tommy Jackson. And Craig making a good intelligent break there. Finding McMordy now. Bobby Charlton. Francis Lee. And now McNabb. And a free kick to England. Number 3, Bob McNabb, taken over from fullback Terry Cooper in the England side. And a goal kick. Moore getting in before Irvine. To ball. Hurst laying it off for Mallory, but it was a bit difficult for Mallory, putting him under a good deal of pressure from Nicholson. Craig, all of these long balls trying to look out for Irvine or Dugan. Martin Peters to McNabb. Best a lone figure on that left wing, and certainly Ireland haven't used him over much as yet. Here's McMordy to Tommy Jackson. And a good little ball back there to McMordy. Good play by McMordy. One towards the far post there, and Moore, cool as you like, away again. There go the squeals. Terry Neal to pump another high one towards Dugan, flicking it on well, and almost there from Irvine. My goodness, Dugan got up well to that, and he really is going to be a danger. And here's Irvine, naturally just a little bit annoyed with himself.
Signs are already that Dugan is winning the ball in the air from Lebone and causing quite a bit of trouble, and he created that chance for Irvine purely on that skill.
So we probably shall see a lot of high balls pumped towards Dugan, as indeed they were pumped towards the Welsh trio of strikers at Wrexham this afternoon. Terry Neal. And Lebone off his knee. Tommy Jackson, a busy little player, always liking to be in the game, Jackson. This is Craig. One towards that near post there, Dugan, and this time Lebone gets up first. The crowd behind that goal think unfairly so. McMordy now, Dugan, is this a chance? And these chances keep half arriving and flittering away. Willie Irvine again. And as Pat Crerand alongside me said, if only he'd left that to Georgie Best, who was beautifully placed on the far side of him. Certainly England under a fair bit of pressure. Newton getting in before Best. Now Lee. Best. They're so worried about Dugan that they were all looking to each other for someone to take him, and nobody did. And that's so unlike an England defence, because an England defence is usually so hard and resilient and so positive. Lee buzzing in there to try to put the Irish defence under pressure. But Martin Harvey getting it away. Craig for Ireland. To Dugan. Laid off to Irvine. McMordy free on the right. And Moore and Mallory between them, getting it away for England. To Ball. Bobby Moore. Bobby Charlton. McNabb free up the left. Here's McNabb. He likes to adventure as a fullback. Alan Ball. Mallory to McNabb. Looking for someone to make the final break. And a mistake there by Harvey, almost putting Ireland into trouble. Keith Newton. Charlton. Not too positive at the moment, the Irish in defence. Best getting them out of trouble, though. Beautiful, close control. And Dugan having laid off down the right there to create a situation to get Ireland out of trouble. McMordy. McMordy. And Peters did well to take that off him. And a free kick to England given against Nicholson for a foul on Bobby Charlton. Coming up to a quarter of an hour gone, no score. Hurst to Peters, to Hurst. Flicked very delicately over McMordy's head. Bob McNabb. Peters, Hurst. Mallory playing it off for Peters and almost getting it through to Peters. Good interception by Neil. Nicholson delaying his clearance a little too much. Moore to Lee, to Ball, and Lee doing a tremendous amount of good running to make himself available for that one, and Hurst. A couple of yards further on, and that would have been a good one for Hurst. Marvellous example of selfless running by Geoff Hurst, though. Sammy Todd. Jackson playing it back for Craig. And another long ball. What a good one to Dugan. Banks and LeBone between them, outwitting Dugan and winning a free kick for England as well by the look of it.
Ireland have certainly started with all the fire in the world, and there's no doubt about it. They're not showing any of the nervous signs that I detected from the Welsh side this afternoon. McMordy is playing as if he's played for 100 years in international matches, and he's very cheeky on the ball. Dugan is in form, and the whole side looks well knit and composed.
In fact, there's far less space at the back for both sides this afternoon compared with what we saw at Wrexham this afternoon. There simply aren't the gaps. Everything is tight and everything's going to be hard to win. Lee getting the better of Martin Harvey. Francis Lee. Oh, almost into the path of ball, but you see, at that precise moment, there were no fewer than 6 green shirts back in that penalty area. Good, disciplined defence, and now Best, the most exciting player probably in the world. And a free kick given against Alan Ball. Mr. Mullen explaining why. Good firm refereeing. And Harvey with the kick. Newton coming towards it, putting Newton under pressure. Now Ball. Craig, another long one, looking for Dugan. And LeBone only getting it as far as Best. Best going past Newton as though he didn't exist. Oh, superb control by Best. Jackson. Nicholson. Dugan right up there. Irvine. And Newton doing the safest possible thing to get England out of a very difficult situation indeed, behind for a corner. And all that havoc caused by two superb moments of supreme skill by this man here, George Best, with the corner for Ireland. Terry Neal right up there, but Moore in first. He's coming back towards Best. Ball and then Newton. Lee. Nicholson in for Ireland. And Moore covering for England. Charlton. Peters going through the middle, Ball in close support, and so too is Lee. Alan Mullery. And a foul given against Irvine on Mullery. Willie Irvine of Preston. Moore with the free kick. This is Irvine again. To McMordy. Dugan playing it off very gently and subtly to Jackson. He couldn't make very much of it, though. Bobby Charlton for England. Now Neal. To Nicholson. Best looking inside now for a bit of space. Nicholson again. Alan Ball. Hurst, the lone England player, up. Jennings spotting that situation very quickly, came off his line very quickly indeed. Sammy Todd for Ireland. And that ball wasn't carrying to Banks, so LeBone very wisely coming in. Good, sharp, crisp build-up for England when they do come forward. Peters. Still Peters, and Mullery have gone charging on. Certainly a crispness about England, though, Jimmy.
Yes, they're beginning to settle down now. That was a very good first-time movement. Nobody holding it, playing it on quickly. But the final move, Martin Peters, I think, just panicked and shot from a position from which he couldn't score.
Moore to Mullery. And Ball. McNabb. Now Alan Ball for England. Hurst, a little lucky to get that with Nicholson in such close attendance. Martin Peters. Martin Harvey of Sunderland, number 3 for Ireland. Again, this high ball that we've spoken about before, looking for Dugan. Bobby Charlton getting the whistles for that, but it was safe. And it was sensible. Jimmy Nicholson covering a lot of ground in midfield for Ireland. To Jackson. To McMordy. And the crowd not liking the decision to give that throw to England, but it's McNabb with it in the white shirts, number 3. to McNabb. Hurst, oh, beautiful skills by Hurst, coming away from his number 5 and breasting that down to Peters. Francis Lee. To Newton. Bobby Charlton. Now this might put him under pressure. Jennings there, though, clutching that ball to his chest. Willie Irvine for Ireland. Harvey to Todd. LeBone away to Newton. LeBone. Hurst versus Neil, but always Neil's ball. Francis Lee. Switching it to the left here, McNabb. And Dugan right back. And Dugan off in chase now with McNabb with him. McNabb falling, but Dugan is not. Irvine in the middle, and so too is Moore. Very cool. Martin Peters looking for Hurst. Neil in very quickly. I say Neil is playing Hurst very well so far. McNabb, but not a very positive ball. No one really to go for it. And they really are tackling like tigers, these Irishmen. Little McMordy there. And Tommy Jackson, who I suppose is the Irish equivalent of an Alan Ball, busy and always in the game. Here he is. Dugan getting there a good yard before LeBone. That really is significant, the number of times that Dugan is beating LeBone. Hurst going away from Neil again. Mullery. Ball to McNabb. Peters and Lee ahead of him. Here's Ball. Hurst making a break, trying to get rid of Neil. In goes Dugan again, not getting it, but causing just enough anxiety in that England defence all the time. To Best. Tapping it off very daintily to Nicholson. And now Harvey. McMordy free on the right. Here's McMordy. And Mallory playing it off, and Ball playing it back beautifully to Mallory. Lee. Hurst free on the far side, going through to Hurst. Couldn't quite control it at the critical moment, but a beautiful pass though from Lee. "25 minutes gone, no score." Nicholson with the throw. Finding Best. Dugan. And Best trying to grab the ball with his hand and even failing to do that, but it's Lee coming away for England. Bobby Charlton going up on his right, Hurst on his left. Here's Bobby. Oh, beautiful save by Jennings. Superb one-arm save by Jennings from Bobby Charlton, who has now gone over to take the corner. Hurst, Ball, Peters, actually in the Irish penalty area. Newton, Lee and McNabb lurking just outside it. Peters going up, and elbows as he does so on Dugan. And the ball must be stationary when the free kick is taken. Jimmy Hill.
That's one of the reasons, I think, why Sir Alf Ramsey will stick by Bobby Charlton, because he's so lethal. He was at a very bad angle there on the turn, but the speed with which he hit that ball, I must have stung Jennings' hands as he pushed it over.
Pat Jennings. Jackson beating Ball. Ball just a little fortunate to get a rebound off Derek Dugan. And Jackson again getting in there before Ball. Nicholson to Irvine. McMordy. Irvine again. Jackson looking for space down the right and finding some, but controlling it with his arms. Hurst and Todd. Bobby Charlton. Back to David Craig. Again, looking for Dugan. LeBone there first. Mullery playing off a one-time, but it's a one-time pass. Nicholson to Best. Now Newton did well there. And Mullery has spoiled it all. Best! And that was a good piece of defence by McNabb, leaving his position over on the left of the flank there to come in and block that shot from Best. But really, Mullery did put England in a terrible bit of trouble there. England's throw. Bobby Charlton. Straight to Dugan. Best. Holding that ball under control beautifully, and now Craig free on his right. Here's Craig. First timer in there, that can often be very dangerous, but more in. And Ireland's throw, and Dugan taking advantage of it very quickly to McMordy. Oh, very near again by Irvine. My goodness, if that was not the value of a quick throw, quick thinking by Dugan that sent McMordy away and gave this man, Willie Irvine, a third fleeting chance of putting Northern Ireland ahead. Banks with a goal kick. Nicholson. Irvine and Moore going for it. Moore judging it the better. Nicholson again. To Best. Chased by his Manchester teammate, Bobby Charlton. Martin Peters to Hurst. To Charlton. Lee on the right. Ball going across to add a bit of support. Good dummy there. Good little bit of trickery by Francis Lee. But running straight into Neil. Oh, Neil almost going into the crowd. He's hardly put a foot wrong tonight, Terry Neal. Lee. Hurst getting under this one. And Jennings completely missing it with his fists. Whether he was jostled unfairly by Hurst or not, it looks rather as though he must have been, because that kick was taken just a foot or so outside the 6-yard area. Dugan beating LeBone there. Even though LeBone was holding him, free kick, and it gets Quickly taken by Dugan to McMordy. Dugan for Ireland.
His right foot is not Derek Dugan's strongest weapon, but I must say he's using those he has very well. And more than anything else, he's a kind of unpredictable player. You can't always rely on him giving everything he's got for 90 minutes, but tonight it looks as if he's determined to, and this could make quite a difference in the game.
Bob McNabb, Mallory, to Moore, to Ball. And Newton getting in there before Best. But a throw to Ireland. Back to Terry Neal. Hurst to Ball. And Todd in very quickly, reading that well for Ireland. Of course, the game bearing no resemblance whatsoever to the game we saw this afternoon at Wrexham, Jimmy. So much tighter, isn't it?
It's as different as the weather.
Which is very much colder here now in Belfast after the sunshine of Wrexham. Bobby Charlton. Peters there, if he can keep his feet. McNabb, gentle little clip, looking for Hurst, to Ball in the middle. But in fact, Jennings was there first. Those balls where Hurst rises so well to flick it on for a forward coming in. But now McMordy for Ireland. Jackson, McMordy, Dugan in the middle, and so too is Irvine. Francis Lee. LeBone and Dugan both going for it again. LeBone in sheer desperation getting there first. Nicholson. Oh, McMordy playing the goalkeeper and not very successfully at that. So it's a free kick to England. Bob McNabb of Arsenal to take it. Todd not very far away. Lee turning it in well. That really was as close as England have been, and I'm not at all sure that if Hurst had not gone just a little harder for that one, he might not have just poked that home for England. Pat Jennings. Free kick to Ireland. Harvey to take it. Inevitably, he'll be looking for the head of Dugan. There's Dugan going for it as well. McMordy! Again, this illustration of Dugan, who is causing so much anxiety in this defence, causing little errors and little space for other people. Martin Peters for England. To Alan Ball. Hurst, Lee outside him. Here's Lee. Charlton's gone into the middle. And a corner. Off Nicholson, Charlton to take it. And this time LeBone, for the first time for a corner, is coming up into the Irish penalty area. Bobby looks they might be trying an outswinger. Going under that crossbar, LeBone harassing Jennings almost into an error. Tommy Jackson to Eric McMordy. Nicholson, harassed by Mallory. Good play by Nicholson. It's straight at Bobby Moore. Now Moore and Mallory between them. To Ball. Good first-time ball there by Ball to Moore. Couldn't quite keep it in, though. Perhaps not quite as good as I thought it was. George Best for Ireland. Leverne getting ahead of Dugan. Alan Ball. Intercepted by Nicholson. McMordy to make the break. 5 England players around him, and Best in support, and there's no better player to have in support than Best. He thought he won a free kick there against McNabb, and if he hadn't hesitated, he would have found the ball still at his feet. So even George Best must learn, play to the whistle, and it's probably the best thing. Craig. That was a wild one. And a throw to Ireland. Harvey with it. And everywhere Dugan goes, LeBone is sure to follow. Nicholson being held there by Ball, getting it across well, though. And Peters to Best. Neil leaving this for Jennings. McNabb. Alan Ball to Bobby Charlton. Francis Lee going over on the right. Hurst and Ball are in the middle. But he's got problems of his own as Lee, but it looks as though this could be a free kick to England in a very dangerous position indeed for Ireland. On the edge of that penalty area, and it couldn't have been much closer than that. Ball being organised by McMordy, lining him up for Jennings. Lee. Peters! And there it is! Martin Peters! Minutes gone, and rather against the run of the play after some very spirited and dangerous Irish football, Martin Peters from a dead ball situation, putting England 1 goal into the lead. Well, there you saw how Martin Peters got up with so much space and so much time to put England into the lead. Dugan finding McMurray. Bobby Moore. Hurst laying it off for Ball. And now Best. But even Best couldn't control that one. Moore to Charlton. Who can say this man's off form? Charlton. It bobbled for him when least he wanted it to, Bobby Charlton. But certainly he's got all that lovely rhythm and the flowing grace, Bobby Charlton. Who on earth can say that this man, winning his 91st cap today, is out of form? Pat Jennings with the goal kick for Ireland. Moore impeding Irvine. Free kick to Ireland. Nicholson with the kick. Dugan causing all sorts of problems again for England. Dugan. Bobby Charlton. McNabb. So come to Todd. To McMordy. Sammy Todd, player who can't even be sure of his place in the Burnley side, to Terry Neal, who's been in and out of the Arsenal side this season. To Dugan. Nicholson. Jackson running on ahead of him. Craig on his right. Here's Craig. Harris there by Peters, but got it across well, but the whistle had gone. A free kick to Ireland. For that foul by Martin Peters. Eric McMordy, young Middlesbrough player. Deep one there, Best going in, LeBone away. And a throw to Ireland. Jimmy Nicholson. That's not a bad long throw. Looking again for the head of Dugan. And Newton away. At every opportunity, the Irish boys are pumping high balls towards this tall striker, Derek Dugan, whether it's free kicks, whether it's clearances, whether it's long throws, like this one coming up again to the head of Dugan. McMordy, but no power. Hurst versus Todd, and Todd wisely playing it wide of his goal, you'll notice, to Pat Jennings. Irvine to Best. Shadowed by Moore and by Newton. You need two men for this fellow. LeBone for England. Charlton and Best colliding. Bobby Charlton getting the better of it. Mullery. McNabb. Now Brian LeBone. McNabb beating Nicholson well. Sheer determination to Hurst, and Hurst offside. Last few seconds before half-time now. Dugan for Ireland. Fairly unorthodox way to find George Best, a looping pass back some 30 yards, but it found Best. But now it's Charlton for England. As keen to get the ball in his 91st international, Bobby Charlton, as he was in his first. But now McMordy. Good control by Ireland. Now Peters. To Francis Lee. Pressured all the time by Harvey, given no time or space. Terry Neal. Irvine. Moore in for England. Playing injury time now, and there can't be very much of it in this first half. A very good sporting first half, with England leading by this goal to nil. And Mullery in before George Best as the whistle goes from Mr. Bill Mullen, the referee from Scotland, for half-time here at Windsor Park. England, as you see, leading by that 1-0, scored by Martin Peters. A header from a free kick with all the time and the space that he wanted. A good, solid, professional first half. So unlike the first half that we saw at Wrexham when there were so many chances and so much open play at the back with weak defence. But here it's been tight and professional, and so very hard. And England, here's Jeff Hurst. For England, England trooping off, no doubt, very much relieved that they've conceded nothing at the back, in spite of all the pressure of Dugan and Best. but have snatched that one-goal lead that puts them ahead at half-time. Alan Ball there, Bobby Moore, McNabb and Bobby Charlton. So there we are, a half-time score here, 1-0 to England. We shall be back at Windsor Park in just a few moments' time. We'll take a break now, so stay with us. And the second half, just a few seconds old, no score though in this second half. Still England leading by this 1-0. Now defending the goal to our left in white shirts and black shorts. They throw straight away to England. Bobby Charlton finding ball. Hurst ahead of him. He does take it so well on his chest, Hurst. Bit of a misunderstanding there with ball. They're a little lucky to make something of it. Through to Mullery. Oh, against the crossbar. What a superb shot by Alan Mullery there. Turning in the air as it went. Fooling Jennings in the goal and just clipping the top of the crossbar. Gave his Spurs clubmate something to worry about there, did Alan Mullery. Bone rather aimlessly upfield, although he was under pressure, straight to Craig, and now Tommy Jackson off Peters, and Mullery in under a fair bit of pressure. Todd, Bobby Charlton, straight to Jimmy Nicholson for Ireland. Now Peters to Hurst. Ball with Newton going up the right. Hoping, I suppose, to get Best going up that wing. And now Francis Lee. Good running by Lee. They've got to go for him soon. And finally, belted behind for a corner by Harvey. Looks as though he may well have hurt his leg pretty seriously there by the consternation on the face of Neil. And also, you'll notice that the referee, Mr. Bill Mullen, is saying, treat this very carefully indeed. Jimmy Hill.
Well, it looks rather serious, more serious than we'd like it to be at this particular moment. Apart from Murdoch this afternoon and Lawrence, the games have been pretty free of injuries, and especially a serious one.
And it's Alex Elder, in fact, who is limbering up from the substitutes bench down there. Of course, a ready-made number 3 for Ireland if Harvey does have to go off. And it looks very much as though Martin Harvey might well have said goodbye to this particular game. For the moment then, Ireland down to 10 men, but as I say, Alex Elder of Stoke busily warming up along the touchline. Moore for England. Lee to Peters, to Hurst. Now McMordy for Nicholson. Dugan. Nicholson, Jackson on his right in support. For Irish attackers in that England penalty area. If Jackson can get it across, McMordy going out to help. Jimmy Nicholson of Huddersfield with the throw. Perhaps we should see one of these long ones towards Dugan again. There it goes. Yet another one aimed at Dugan. This time getting to Dugan, flicked on for Best! He hooked that beautifully, but straight into an England player. Another superb example of the danger that Dugan can cause with these headers. Now a beautiful open situation for England. Lee racing onto this one. Falling rather dramatically, looking round towards Bill Mullen, the referee, but Mr. Mullen looking stony-faced at him. No hint of a penalty. Dugan getting in before LeBone. Moore to ball. Alex Elder now looks as though he's coming on, because it looks as though Harvey is going off. Hurst for England. To Lee. One towards the far post at Tess Jennings. The Irish crowd getting at Mr. Mullen to try and tell him that Elder is trying to get on the field as the substitute. And Alex Elder coming on, going through the formality of checking with the Irish skipper Terry Neal the name of the substitute. It's Alex Elder, of course, a man with a tremendous amount of experience as a fullback for Ireland. And now the other fullback, Craig. Going towards Best, Irvine. McNabb getting it away to Charlton. Good first-time efforts getting it away for England. Todd. Irvine flicking it on, looking for Dugan. And again McNabb. Neal. The pressure still very much on England. Moore, and again McNabb. Neal putting it into Dugan. Couldn't quite turn it again from the attentions of Newton. Derek Dugan. Again on that right foot that Jimmy Hill was talking about, but he did very well to screw that round and couldn't quite get it round enough. So it's a goal kick to England. Gordon Banks to take it. Best to Irvine, to Dugan. Best following up. And now Best in a bit of pain on the edge of that England penalty area. The sight that no Irishman wanted to see tonight, of course. Although he's a fairly resilient little character. And he takes a fair bit of stick, of course, George Best, in the course of a season. Trainer Bobby McGregor. Willie Irvine in the foreground. Here's Best.
When people say there are no personalities in the game, I sometimes wonder what they want with a personality like George Best. Every time he gets the ball here, the crowd squeals with excitement, and you feel it yourself.
The character of Best, the character of Dugan also in this Irish side. There certainly is plenty of colour in the game. As McNabb for England. Todd for Ireland. And here is Dugan. McMordy. What a fine game this young man has had for Ireland. Elder, his first real touch of the ball. And beating Newton. And Jackson getting under it well. Best. Loud appeals for a penalty, but it was never a penalty. It was, in fact, very good defensive play by Bobby Moore. Charlton to Moore. And a yard the wrong side of McNabb for him to be able to do anything with it. Best. Dugan and Irvine in the middle. Two men there taking Best and getting a corner. Coming after 10 minutes of the second half, England still leading by this 1-0, scored by Martin Peters. Shortly before half-time, Best with a corner. Irvine at the near post. Neil is up in the penalty area. Dugan is there as well, and getting in! Almost there by Irvine! Again, magnificent jumping by Dugan. And again, Irvine was lurking around there. Dugan again, LeBurn going in. The pressure still very much on England. Jackson! Beautiful save! Elder. Nicholson! Beautiful save again. Body behind that ball by Gordon Banks. There really is no better goalkeeper in the world than this man. But it really has got the Irish shouting here at Windsor Park now. Irvine, who's been so close 2 or 3 times for them, to McMordy. Jackson has taken a bit of a knock. But Ireland coming away again. And it's LeBurn getting it away. Hurst coming to fetch the ball. Lee running ahead of him. Charlton's with him. Ball is free on the right. Hurst going on with his run. Good play by Hurst. Look at the space it's created for him. Lovely little chip. Charlton. Peter's still there to nod it back again. Craig away. And now Jackson, who's got to his feet to help Ireland in their moment of need. It's a very sprightly second half that we're getting now. David Craig of Newcastle to Dugan. Best up there with him. Elder. And Best. That must be a free kick. Handball. And Dugan very annoyed indeed with Alex Elder for not pumping another high ball towards him. Very angry indeed. It's such an obvious tactic, but my goodness, the Irish have made it work tonight, although there's still this goal down. Every time that ball is lifted towards Dugan, there's a hint of menace in the air. Keith Newton with the throw. Jimmy Nicholson. Irvine to McMordy, trying his luck on the left. A dangerous looking one towards Dugan. Jackson following it in, and Best. Best a little too slow. Much too slow, claiming that Ball's foot was up, but it certainly wasn't. McNabb for England. Jackson, not a very good one by McNabb. Best is in there, so too is LeBone. Bob McNabb to Bobby Charlton. Beating Nicholson, but Nicholson went in there unfairly, says referee Mullen. And so a free kick for England. Hurst to Peters, back to Hurst. Ball up with him. Peters. That was a cunning little chip there, seeing that Jennings was out of his goal, but not quite cunning enough. McMordy. A game that is still so wide open, with the Irishman still full of spirit and skill. Now Lee. Oh, a beautifully laid pass there for Peters.
Just thinking the number of times that Alan Ball comes back and wins the ball for his side, reminiscent of the World Cup, when he covered every inch of that Wembley pitch and never gave up. He's got such terrific stamina for a small fellow. Wonderful.
Bobby Charlton with the corner, and Alan Ball now on the edge of that penalty area in a very much an attacking position, but Craig getting it away for Ireland. LeBone will pump it out towards Bobby Charlton again, offside. Just about a quarter of an hour gone of the second half. Ireland 0, England 1, scored by Martin Peters. And a free kick given to Ireland against LeBone for a foul on Dugan. And Peters standing over that ball to make sure that the Irish don't take a quick one. Ball trying to organise the England defence. Every England player is back now, between the ball and the England goal. Neil laying it off for Nicholson. And no problems at all for Gordon Banks. Elder. Elder in rather clumsily. Always very difficult, of course, for a substitute to come on and to get the tempo of the game straight away. And Lee in a fair bit of pain from that, being assisted by Dugan and by the England trainer Harold Shepperson. Well, there's still a great deal of danger for England, Jimmy, in this situation.
Yes, I'm interested by the play of Jimmy Nicholson, who's really a superb all-round player. He's got a long throw. He just had that terrifically accurate shot at Banks from well outside the area. He's full of confidence and skill, and if he lacks anything, it's just a little bit of pace, but he's got all that goes to make up a really top-class player, and he wants to beat England tonight, and he's determined to do it somehow.
Well, Francis Lee on his feet again. Keith Newton with the kick. Neil claiming that was his. He didn't really clear it very well. Straight to Lee. Peters lurking at the far side, offside. Straight to Mallory, miscuing. I don't think Best will keep this one in, though. Throw to Ireland. Irvine. Another throw to Ireland. Nicholson coming across for it, which can only mean that it's another long one. Aimed at you-know-who. Derek Dugan, of course. There it goes. There's Dugan going for it and getting it. Best. And it's there! Off Irvine! Cannoned off his chest. Irvine was with him, but it must have cannoned off McMordy's chest. 1-1.
Well, that was the most...
So now it's Alan Ball with this equaliser for Ireland. The pressure really will be on England now, as the green shirts will find fresh fight. McMordy, the man who was credited with that one. Francis Lee. Still Lee. And there it is, by Lee. So a goal for Lee in his second successive international, one against France last month. So that's how he did it and put England 2-1 ahead. A really crippling blow that for Ireland when a side struggles so hard to make up one goal, gets it back, and then within a minute or so finds themselves in that same position, one down. So England then leading by 2-1. Peters and Lee for England, McMordy for Ireland. With something like 25 minutes to go, Nicholson, well, we saw what he did with the long throw the last time. And that's going towards Dugan again. LeBone there. And Mallory away for a corner. Dugan assisting LeBone. LeBone took a bit of a knock as they went for that one. He's a tough fella. Looks as though he's saying, I'm all right. How do you think Jack Charlton would have coped with Dugan? Any better than LeBone is doing, Jimmy?
I think he might well have done, because he's got that extra inch or so in height. We're just thinking of the difference between those two goals. Eric McMordy, although it was well conceived, I think caught a rebound without knowing about it. An England defender tried to overhead kick, and he scored a goal he didn't know about. But Francis Lee, from the first moment he picked up the ball, was going to put it in the back of the net.
And here comes that corner away by ball for England. Todd. Hurst beating Nicholson. And Best pulled down by Newton. Free kick. I certainly wouldn't have said there was anything malicious about that. That was a wholehearted challenge by Newton for a ball that was becoming a very dangerous one from England's point of view. But it's a free kick to Ireland with Alex Elder to take it. Searching out Dugan, but LeBone there. Elder again. Now Best, just wide. And my goodness, that would have gladdened every Irish heart if this little fella here, George Best, could have rammed home that equaliser. Perhaps a yard wide. And not at all a bad chance either. Banks with the kick. Moore cutting that one off for England, but all he can do is turn it into touch. Nicholson, and again that long throw. And again Dugan getting there. Best with his hand, surely. And Mr. Mullen was there to spot it. Quite blatantly going up there and punching that ball with his arm, George Best. Keith Newton. Oh, Elder straight to ball. Charlton not quite getting it through to Peters, so it's McMordy for Ireland to Dugan. Jackson streaking into the middle, so too is Irvine and Best. And McMordy, but now it's Craig coming up. And Mallory giving away a corner. Rather clumsy piece of play there by Alan Mullery. That's the scene in the goal mouth. Moore organising his men. For this corner by Best. Terry Neal's gone right up into the box as well. Under that crossbar. Elder. And Moore. Straight to Best. Oh, good play by Best. What a very dangerous ball that was, curling towards the far post. If Dugan had been there with his head, that would have been it. Here's Best. And McMordy wasn't so very far away. Best taking two defenders in the space of a yard and beating them both.
There seems no such thing as a difficult ball to control for Georgie Best. Ordinary players, yes. For him, no. However the ball comes to him, it seems to stick like glue.
Neal getting in first. McNabb. And now Nicholson, who's played such a fine game for Ireland. Hurst with very little support, but ball is a part of it. Francis Lee. Mullery is coming up into space behind him. Here's Mullery. Back to Lee. One towards the far post. Peters advancing, and Jennings there. Pushed as he went for that ball by Hurst. Pat Jennings. Dugan. And now Mullery. Something like 19 minutes to go now. And England still leading by 2-1. The crowd claiming that Dugan was pushed in the back by LeBone as they went for that one. And it's something that Mr. Mullen does not agree with, because it's a throw and nothing more for Ireland. Splitting in Bobby Charlton. Streaking away. No finer sight than Bobby Charlton. A good pass there almost to Hurst. Well read by Terry Neal. Best nodding it on. Francis Lee to Bob McNabb. Best still poking it through to Nicholson, to Jackson. Irvine cut out by Moore for England. Played sensibly firm and wide for ball. Charlton running into space ahead of ball. Here's Charlton. Space very quickly closed by Elder. Here's Elder again to Jackson. Irvine looking for Dugan. And a free kick to Ireland. Given against Newton on Dugan. Terry Neal again coming up for this one into the penalty area to add height and weight to this Irish onslaught. And Elder, who is such an accurate placer of a dead ball with his left foot like this, curling one in there, but headed away by Moore. Bobby Charlton to Alan Ball. Peters, always somebody available when England are going well. You're never alone with the ball, that is for sure. McNabb again. McNabb again. Bobby Charlton. Now ball is free for him. So is Lee. Lee again. Pull down and a penalty. And it's significant that none of the Irish players there are disagreeing with that decision by Mr. Mullen. The Irish crowd are not very happy about it, but a penalty it is. Hurst is going to take it, and remember, in England's last match, Hurst scored twice from the penalty spot against France. Hurst with the penalty. Almost saved, but it's there. That really was a good piece of work by Jennings to get as far as he did, toward that ball, but it puts England 3-1 up. And you'll see from that just how close Pat Jennings got to making really what would have been a splendid save from that penalty by Jeff Hurst. But England now 3-1 up.
I don't think the referee had much alternative but to give a penalty there. Francis Lee went through so well again, cut through like a knife going through butter, and he was through about to shoot and was brought down from behind.
And of course this gives England a bit of breathing space for the first time in this game, and must raise their hopes of winning this international championship, although of course it's still very early days. McMorty on the far side, Dugan, the best. The best can destroy all plans, and he falls, and Mr. Mullen says he's diving, and Dugan is having a fair set to with the referee. Mr. Mullen having no doubts in his mind that Best had dived, that it wasn't a penalty. Best again. Irvine going in and LeBone giving away a corner. Well, no sooner do you say that breathing space for England than they are put under intense pressure. But of course with a home game against Wales on Wednesday and then another home game against Scotland on Saturday, both at Wembley, if they can win here tonight, it really does increase England's chances enormously of winning this British Championship. Ball. And McMorty. What a tremendous start to this home international championship. 8 goals this afternoon, 4 so far tonight, 12 in a day from 2 games. That really should foster a tremendous amount of interest in the home international championships, which goes next, of course, to Hampden Park on Tuesday when Scotland play this Irish side. Neil and Dugan offside. Neil, who really has played so well. This jaundice is supposed to be such a weakening disease, but Neil has played extremely well here against Jeff Hurst tonight. Now it's McMorty for Ireland, and Banks reading it to perfection. Considering also that Terry Neal is pretty short of match practice. Martin Peters for England to Lee, who's had such a fine game again for England tonight. Ball, turning it towards Hurst, who's going to go for this one. Ball to Peters. Hurst breaking on the right there. Peters going on through the man's legs. Must have been a very difficult one for Jennings, seeing it really almost at the last moment as that ball sped through Elder's legs. Now it's Nicholson for Ireland. 11 minutes to go. England 3-1 up. Elder almost getting it through to McMorty, who'd made a very good diagonal run there, but now it's Peters for England. To McNabb. although we've seen flashes of best, it's also true to say that we haven't seen them consistently enough, really, for them to be a constant threat to this English side. And now it's Lee. Ball on the right, who will run. But Elder going with him. Well, Alf Ramsey said he was looking for a grand slam in this home international tournament with victories in all 3 games. He's certainly well on the way to getting a first one. Hurst. With England soaking up the pressure as they have for so long in defence, but remaining, I would think, probably the hardest side in the world to beat. Of course, they're not so much an international side. They play together so often that they are virtually, in spirit, a club side. Newton to Bobby Moore. And that one's going to go for a goal kick. On the far side of the ground, the sight of hundreds of Irishmen now drifting away. They came expecting so much, and they're probably disappointed at going away with so little in terms of Irish success. Tommy Jackson. Certainly hasn't been for lack of effort on Jackson's part. He's had a good game as well, but now it's McNabb for England to Alan Ball. Bobby Moore. Bobby Charlton. Beating the referee and also Jackson. So now it's Francis Lee. Charlton. Lee flattened there. The referee didn't see it by Tommy Jackson. And it's McMordy coming away for Ireland to Dugan. Switching it to Elder. But the attack seems to have lost its momentum here. Neil and Hurst having a right battle there. The free kick given Ireland's way against Geoff Hurst. He's taken a bit of punishment tonight, Francis Lee.
Unlike most modern players, I see that he is wearing a shin pad, Brian. It looks as if he needs it, the treatment he's getting there. Mind you, that was a superb England movement. They were rolling the ball around, confident with their 2-goal lead, and I think the Irish made up their minds to stop it, and they did it. Got the ball off him.
Well, as soon as his tie-ups are in place, we should be away again. Lee all right again. Free kick to Ireland. Elder to place a ball. Dugan saying that he wants it high again, and he's got it. And there's Dugan with it. Neil right in. But the ball was bouncing awkwardly in any case for Neil. The flag was up on the far side for offside. Now something like 7.5 minutes to go. The mist beginning to close in on Belfast as Banks takes the goal kick. Neil to McMordy. Charlton to Hurst. Playing it square for ball. Charlton going on. Good determined play by Best. Irvine to Nicholson. Another high one towards Dugan. I would think by the number of times LeBone in particular has nodded away high centres from Dugan, he'll have a bit of a headache in the morning. Alan Ball. To Bob McNabb. England slowing it down, playing it as coolly as they possibly can, and as tight as ever at the back as Peters. To Ball!
So unusual for Martin Peters there. He never misses a chance to shoot for goal, and on that occasion, when all he had to do was whack it, he decided to try another pass, and you see what happens. One too many.
LeBone for once getting the ball on the ground. And now Bobby Charlton. To Moore. To Ball. Hurst. Hurst still, and not so far away. From Jeff Hurst. Alex Elder there, the Irishman. And a goal kick, which Pat Jennings is going to take for Ireland. Now just 5 minutes to go, and England 3-1 up. And I would have supposed that most people would say that's pretty safe. 3-1 to England with just 5 minutes left at Windsor Park. Irvine. Newton in a bit of pain on the deck. McNabb running free on the far side. Best after him. Oh, and Charlton brought down there by Craig. Oh, it's Francis Lee. He really has taken some punishment, Lee, but he's up and he's away. And Newton saying that he doesn't require the trainer, so it's going to be a free kick to England. Bobby Charlton. Floating one in there. Lee going in as well. Willie Irvine. Newton with him. And a corner. Certainly Irvine had 1 or 2 fleeting chances there in the first half, which if he'd put those away, Ireland wouldn't be in the position they're in now. But it's Elder coming up to take this corner for Ireland. And again we have Terry Neal up in that penalty area. Dugan looking hopefully for it as well. The ball going towards Neal. And now Nicholson. McNabb getting that one away, but only as far as McMordy. Under pressure again. And Mullery away. Todd tidying up, pumping it back again. England claiming that somebody was offside, but the linesman kept his flag down. Alan Ball. Now Bobby Moore. And handball, I think it must have been given against Dugan. He claims the ball hit his head. Alan Ball for England. Just about 3 minutes to go. Nicholson. That wasn't a very good one from Nicholson. Straight and easily intercepted by Peters, sending Hurst away. Neal with him. Again, good interception by Neal. Alex Elder. And 2 men offside. McMordy and Dugan both offside. Chancing nothing, straight back to his goalkeeper, Gordon Banks. Elder and Mullery getting under it. Finding Peters. Ball running free down the left. Moore with space in the middle. Bobby Charlton to Moore. Windsor Park very much quieter now than it was perhaps half an hour ago. Most Irishmen now, I suppose, resigning themselves to the fact that it's another defeat against England. Remember, Ireland have beaten England only once in full internationals since 1927-28. Todd. Nicholson flicking it on for Best, and Best caught that one in the face. From Mullery, his feet were high, and Mr. Mullen said unfairly so, and so this is a free kick now, and it'll be a very interesting one for Ireland. on the very edge of that English penalty area.
Well, Georgie's been trying hard enough to get a foul around that area, and he's got one at last, but I do think the foot was a bit high in the circumstances. But of course, there will be a table published tomorrow in the papers, and a goal now for Ireland, if it were a 3-2 result, would mean that Scotland would be on top of it. Otherwise, England will be on top tonight, and that's where I expect them to remain.
Dugan aiming, clown as ever, to take that free kick with the Irish trainer still on the field. Ball organising that wall, which now extends to something like 7 or 8 players. Best and Neil deciding between them what's to be done. Neil flicking it across to Best. Catching it on the half volley, it really was a cunning one, but too high. Coming towards the end of full time now. Briefly, what about this English performance tonight, Jimmy?
I was interested in the phrase you used, Brian, about soaking up punishment like world champions. They've done that. You know, they've remained resolute under a lot of pressure and come back and chosen their moment to go in and strike and win the game.
LeBone away again. Yes, there can't be a harder side in the world to beat than England. Dugan this time trying to get on the goal side of Newton, but Moore. That was very good control by Moore. It hasn't got them very far because Elder's going to pump it back again. LeBone going in, so too is McMordy. And a corner. Alex Elder with the corner for Ireland. Again, Neil is up there, moving towards this one. Dugan also, and Banks. And look at that throw, straight to Ball, getting England away again. As he catches that ball, Banks obviously is looking for the man to throw it to, and Ball is always running free. Martin Peters. Lee turning it inside, but he won't get to Bobby Charlton. And LeBone to tidy up at the back. We're well into injury time, something like a minute and a half of it. Moore to Mullery for England. To Bobby Charlton. And one occasional slack ball there from Bobby Charlton, but there goes the final whistle. It means nothing. And England have won by 3-1. A very good start for them for this home international championship. So Scotland and England, the day's winners. The scorers for England, Martin Peters, Francis Lee and Jeff Hurst from the penalty. And for Ireland, Eric McMordy. So England 3-1 up, Jimmy Hill.
Well, I think there were some very good performances, very sound performances in the England team. I think Bobby Moore has seldom played better at the back, sweeping up beautifully, always in control, always showing his skill and keeping his defence together, even when under tremendous pressure. Banks proved again that there isn't a goalkeeper in the world that I know that's any better. And Francis Lee, of course, looking for this other striker who can play and do the kind of thing that Jimmy Greaves used to do, has done wonderfully well in this game tonight, to score one and make one.
So you've seen all 4 sides now today, Jimmy. England have impressed you more than anybody, I suppose.
Yes, England look a solid side. The teamwork is good. That 1 or 2 players are still not quite there. But on the other hand, they're really good for me, and I like the performance very much indeed tonight. Ireland fought hard, fought with great spirit, showed a lot of skill, and I was very impressed with their teamwork. I think they're the second best team I've seen today.
That Ireland are the second best, that England are the best?
Without a doubt.
Well, the crowd drifting away here at Windsor Park. No doubt very disappointed, because quite clearly the Ireland are having as good a season as they've had for many long time. And Sir Alf Ramsey was saying that he felt that this was the best-looking Irish side that England had faced since he became team manager some 6 years ago. And yet, apart from odd flashes and the continual menace of Best and Dugan, apart from the time when they equalised, they really were well held by England. And England looking the more professional and the more solid side, as Jimmy Hill said.
I thought Jimmy Nicholson had a very, very good game indeed for Northern Ireland. He was very confident in the middle of the field, sprayed the ball around well, was always dangerous with a shot from way out and with his long throws. And little Eric McMordy impressed me very much. That's the first time I've seen that player. And he's full of life, little tiny buzzer, always doing something, always causing problems for defenders. And they looked a good all-round side. Just a word for Mr. Perpetual Motion, Alan Ball, who I thought throughout this game showed the kind of stamina and skill that he has, and what a great grafter he is to have in any team, one of the engines of the England side.
To throw it forward then to Hampden Park on Tuesday night, Jimmy, when Scotland meet Ireland, from what you're saying, with Ireland the second best side you've seen today, it wouldn't surprise you if the Irish came away with a couple of points from Hampden.
Well, now, I thought you might ask me that, and that's a difficult one. I think Ireland are very impressive as a team, but they have got to play at Hampden Park. And there the Scots will have the backing of their crowd, and they may, of course, improve on today's performance, not for goals, but for tightness.
Well, I think now, Jimmy, we can have a look again at one of these goals that put England on the way to victory today, scored by Francis Lee. Remember, he'd scored against France last month, and now he capped a very good game by a fine goal here against Belfast, against Northern Ireland, rather, in Belfast tonight. So now it's Alan Ball with this equaliser for Ireland. The pressure really will be on England now, as the green shirts will find fresh fight. McMordy, the man who was credited with that one. Mallory. Francis Lee. Still Lee. And there it is, by Lee. So Francis Lee scores. That just about wraps it up from Windsor Park. Remember, the big match special is at 3 o'clock with highlights of both games at Wrexham and in Belfast here tonight. And before that at 2:30, a long and interesting profile on Georgie Best, the man you saw tonight, showing the many sides of the life of George Best. Best at 2:30, big match special then at 3 o'clock. Good night from Belfast.